Welcome everyone back to Life, A Day in the Life with a Military Wife. And I feel like something that I've had to learn to negotiate in the civilian world and the military world is the concept of when do you stand up for yourself? When do you go to bats on and when do you just buckle down, go with the flow and not, rock the boat? And in the military life, that can be a really huge learning curve for military spouses. I've had lots of new military spouses ask me, okay, do I fight this battle or do I not? And there's times where even I struggle with, do I fight this battle or do I not? And how do you fight the battle appropriately? Because disagreeing appropriately is super important, especially in the military community, because it has ramifications on our spouses' careers, how we handle situations. So we are going to use this lens of how to advocate for yourself and analyze some stuff today. I am your host, Sam Wolf, and you are listening to Life of a Military Wife. Okay, so I've had several people approach me and talk to me lately about they've noticed I've made some major changes in my life and my health is better. And that's kind of the direction I want, or the example I'm going to give on how I learned to advocate for myself, because it's not easy and it takes work. So because this is a podcast and I try to give you guys factual information, so I really don't talk about personal stuff often, and it's a podcast, so it's just my voice that you get all the time. You may not know that over this last year and two years, there's been some major changes I've made in my life that have helped improve my health drastically, or why that was even necessary. So kind of backtracking, starting around the age of 10, but basically my entire life, I've had not significant health issues, but I've had health hiccups that kind of compounded. So I've always had blood sugar issues, but they were never really bad enough to be labeled as hypoglycemic completely or diabetic completely. But I always had blood sugar regulation issues. So much so that when I was a teenager, I cut out most junk food and soda pop and things like that. In fact, I think I've maybe had 2 sodas in 20 years. Yeah, maybe 4 sodas in 20 years. But I just realized they made me feel sick, and I didn't enjoy feeling sick, so I just cut them out of my life. But no matter what I did, things just kind of kept getting worse with my health. And specifically with chronic pain, the pain issues and the chronic pain issues started when I was around 10 years old and just got worse and worse and worse. And as a 10-year-old, the frequency and severity was not equal to what it was, now with me in my 30s. It definitely compounded and grew exponentially over the time. Anyway, but it finally got to the point where I just was not able to function. My health was so bad, but it hadn't happened overnight. It had happened so gradually, and I was still trying to eat healthy and be physically active and all of these things. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I cut down my carbs, I cut out a lot of my refined sugars, I was trying to do everything I knew to do, drink lots of water, and I just nothing was improving, and the chronic pain was getting out of control to the point where my husband was sent away for a year by the military, and I could not clean our home without triggering a pain episode to the point where I could not function. And I had 3 little kids, little kids, toddlers. And so we ended up having to get someone to come in and help me maintain the house because I physically couldn't do it. And that was the big eye opener for me because I didn't realize how much my husband had been compensating for my health issues until he was gone for a year and I didn't have him. And I cut out all junk food. I cut out nearly all carbs. I was going to the gym. I was going to the chiropractor. I was doing everything I could think of doing, and it just wasn't making a difference. And I turned to a lot of these other things because I'd given up on my doctors. My military doctors, I had one or two good ones, but, things happen, they get transferred. I've talked about one of them. I absolutely adored her. Loved her so much, but I only had her for about 6 months, and it was while I was pregnant with my one of my kids, and so there really wasn't a whole lot we could do to address a lot of the issues I had. And right after I had my baby, she got PCS'd, and I was devastated. But something I learned really early on, thanks to my husband, was if I had a PCM who was being disrespectful to me and not listening to me, ciao. I didn't need that. I didn't need that in my life, and I'd try a new one. The issue was, over the space of 5 years, I think I had 10 or more PCMs because I just could not find one who would listen to me, to the point where I just gave up. I really did give up. And that was hard for my husband to see because he could just see how I was going downhill. And I kept trying. So that is one thing. If you are dealing with medical issues and you have a doctor who is not listening to you, get a new one. Just dump them. Just go, deuces, moving on, find someone else. It's not going to be easy. And it's going to, you might have to go through a lot. I went through a lot of doctors before I found a good one. But it does happen. And so I really started to get discouraged and almost want to give up because I wasn't being listened to. After I had my last kid, that one great PCM left and I got a new one, I was trying to explain to the doctor that I just felt like crap. I was in pain all the time. I wasn't feeling good. Something wasn't right. And she's like, yeah, you're obese. You just need to stop eating as much and exercise. I'm like, I'm doing those things. I'm eating healthy and exercising. Now what? But she didn't believe me. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Don't need this in my life. And so I really just kind of quit because that's right around when my husband left for the year and my health just really tanked. And then we moved to a new place and I was just discouraged. I was just ready to quit. And I'm so grateful I had a husband who pushed me not to quit. Because like I said, it's knowing when to just go with the flow and knowing when to say no. And I was so sick of saying, no, listen to me, and not being listened to. And there's another, just interjecting here, there's another tool I didn't use. You can complain. And there's an ombudsman at military hospitals, and you can complain to them if you are not getting proper treatment, that if you are being mistreated. And I did not know that, nor take advantage of that. And I know that now, and still haven't ever had to use it now that I know. Ironic, now that I know I don't really need it as much. We get to our new duty station, and I set up an appointment with my PCM, and I did something different. And this is also something I want to point out. Instead of walking in and saying, hey, I'm having issues, I don't know what to do, or, just kind of making it open-end, I don't know what's wrong, or, fix me. I very clearly outlined for my doctor all of the health issues I was having And every single thing I had done with my doctors or whatever to try to address it, and that hadn't worked. And then I pointed out my family's medical history as well. I pointed out different medical issues my mother had had or my aunts had had that could all be a factor in the symptoms I was experiencing if I had these same things. And I said, I want to know, I want to get tested. Like, I want to know. Please test me for stuff. And my doctor, now this is kudos on her, she's amazing, was like, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with you either. Let's test everything. And you'd think that hearing, I don't know what's wrong from a medical professional would be like super discouraging and like, scary. It was one of the most amazing moments of my life. I was so grateful that she was willing to say, I don't know, let's figure it out. Because she then went and ordered every single kind of medical test you can imagine. And I had no idea what was causing my chronic pain. I had no idea. I almost thought it was in my head, like I was like imagining it, like it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, because I had people telling me, oh, you need to just suck it up. Everyone deals with pain. It's no big deal. And when you get told that enough, you start to believe it. And I did. I really had started to believe that. Well, so long story short-ish, doctor orders every freaking test you can imagine. I mean, they drew so much blood. I'm amazed I had any left. But it was the best thing that could have ever happened, because I walked in thinking, okay, my mom has had problems with X, Y, and Z. I know so-and-so in my family has had problems with X, Y, and Z. It's probably that. It wasn't. It wasn't any of the things I thought it was, and that's part of why what I was doing wasn't working. Because the thing that was broke was not the thing I thought was broke, and so what I was trying to do to fix me wasn't fixing me. And that's one reason why going to medical professionals, getting these medical tests done is so important, because those results tell you what's wrong with you, what you need to fix with you, because every single person's body is different. And I've had several wives, military spouses, come up to me lately and be like, oh my goodness, it's such a transformation. How did you do it? And I tell them, I'm like, I went to my doctor, I found out what was broke with my body, and with my doctor's help, we fixed it. And they're like, what? Because they're all expecting me to say, I did some fad diet, or I've got this great trainer, or something. And that's not, yes, diet and exercise are huge factors, and I'm going to get into that. But I found the support team I needed, and they ordered the medical tests I needed, and we found out what was wrong with me. And it turned out that this chronic pain, which was a huge debilitating factor in my life, wasn't in my head. It was a legitimate issue. I had nerve damage. That I had not known about. And it was because of some things that had happened when I was a kid. Mostly it was me doing silly stuff and hurting myself. Falling off the monkey bars on my head, as well as being a passenger in some car accidents. It was a compound effect. And the neurologists have honestly said it's hard to isolate the exact instance when the nerve damage occurred, and it probably was an accumulative effect. But needless to say, the nerve damage happened, and it only got worse over time. And that's why it became to the point where it was pretty much disabling. I was by and large disabled because of it. And so finding that nerve damage was the best thing in my life. Now, granted, I've got arthritis in my 30s, so I feel like a total old person, and I creak now. But, I'll deal with the arthritis. At least I know what's wrong with me. And it's just been so liberating, because we were able to get the nerve damage fixed, and there's been a series of several surgeries I've needed because I've had some health problems I did not realize. Like, let's just say when the doctor tells you, yeah, we need to fix this now or you're not going to live to see your kids grow up, you get really motivated to like fix things like now and listen. And that's the other thing. You need to stand up for yourself to get the answers, but then when you finally have people who are helping you and actually listening, you need to listen back. Because sometimes, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but we get into this thing where we're like, I'm going to stand up for myself, I'm going to stand up for myself. And then we get the answers and we're like, I don't know if I like those. Yeah, that's not how that works. I didn't like some of the answers I got, but they were the answers because the medical tests showed it. And so there was some hard things I had to do. I had to make some serious life changes, which radical dietary changes. And I had to make radical shifts in just different things. And some of this I had to do with my husband deployed. And I had to find a support group, and I found a great support system in my friends and my congregation. And I'm so grateful for them and for my medical team. I have a nutritionist. I have what would you call, physical therapist-ish? Basically someone who helps me with my fitness goals. And then I have my doctor, and I have this just really great support group, to help me stay on track. And so as I was going down this whole thing, they're like, let's set some goals. Let's, now that we know what's wrong, we're going to fix it. We're going to fix this. We're going to make some goals. We're going to do this. And so I set goals for myself that I thought were, lofty goals. I thought they were going to be hard to achieve. And it was wonderful. I'm so grateful for my nutritionist. Took one look at my goals and she's like, nah, you can do better than that. And I'm like, what? She's like, nah, that's not a real goal. You need to challenge yourself. And I'm like, but that looks challenging. She's like, no, I know you can do better. And so I had people who were pushing me to excel, to do better. And it's just been amazing because we found out that there was things wrong with me that were significant that needed to be fixed. And so when people are like, oh my goodness, you've lost weight or whatever. And okay, I just need to go back and paraphrase something. I was never skinny. I've never been skinny. I've never been this dainty little delicate thing in my life. There's a reason why when Cara Dune's character happened in Star Wars, I nearly did backflips because I don't feel like stocky women are represented as still being feminine and but strong. I'm like, yay, there's someone like me. There's someone like me who is girly but not dainty, but not wussy, and a little, that can kick some butt. I mean, okay, I'm not as tough as Cara Dune's character. She's a lot more of a, feisty for, she can kick more butt than I can. But it was really, I was so excited. I was so excited to see someone who physically represented more of what I looked like. So I've never been dainty. And I have lost weight in the process of getting my health under control. But to me, that's a byproduct. Losing the weight was never my primary goal. My primary goal was and this is something I'm going to say, my cholesterol was terrible. My blood pressure was terrible. My blood sugar I was almost diabetic. My pain was off the charts. Just all of these things in my life were just spiraling out of control. And I needed to get them back under control. And they are. For the first time in my life, I'm not experiencing chronic pain. For the first time, well, not my entire life, but most of my entire adult life at least, I'm not in chronic pain. My blood sugar for the first time is normal. I have normal blood sugar. Like, that is mind-blowing for me. Blood pressure is better, which is really, really good because my blood pressure was insane. And as I've mentioned, I can get kind of stressed out. Blood pressure and being stressed, not the best thing. My cholesterol is better, which considering, that can lead to all sorts of complications. I'm really grateful about that. So I'm so just grateful that I've got my life back. I can play with my kids. I can go for family bike rides. I can go camping again. But this was the turning point for me. So during the whole last 2 years, COVID crazy pandemic, everything was shut down and not shut down and whatever. My husband and I hit our 10th anniversary during that time frame, during this last 2 years and the craziness. And we had originally saved up and planned to go on this trip together, and we were so excited about it and everything. And it just wasn't going to happen because no one was going anywhere and nothing was open. And then we found out that there was this Nerf gun arena that you could rent out and use. It wasn't open for like a public game, but you could have a private game. And my husband and I looked at each other and we're like, we're doing it. Let's do this. And I have to say, as a military spouse, it is super fun and really entertaining to get a whole bunch of service members and their spouses together and run around like crazy little children and shoot Nerf guns at each other, like Nerf darts and stuff at each other for like an hour to 2 hours. It was amazing. It was a bomb. No children around. We were just adults, so we could act like children, which was great. And it was really funny because all of our little, service members in there, they all were much better marksmen than a lot of us wives. But there was one wife who totally was kicking butt and taking names. Like, that woman just had it. And my entire life, I've liked being physically active. I liked playing sports. I liked doing different stuff. But I'd always feel sick afterwards. My blood sugar would just bottom out and I would just feel like crud every single time. Anytime I did anything physically active, to the point where it was discouraging to want to be physically active because I knew I'd feel sick afterwards. I would always feel sick. And afterwards, I was sore. Oh my gosh. I was sore in places I didn't know I could be sore. But for the first time ever, I didn't feel sick. It was amazing. It was one of the most liberating things in my life to realize that I could be physically active. I could run around like a teenager or a toddler and just be crazy physically active and not suffer for it. I could do something that I wanted to do that was physically demanding and not be punished by my body. Well, I was punished by my body, but like I said, but that was for soreness, for reasons, not pain, and not feeling sick. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm not in pain. I'm not sick. And it was liberating. I felt so free. And that is what I want to get across. When we advocate for ourselves in an appropriate way, and we work with the system to get a result that is good for us, it's liberating. I am so grateful I advocated for my health care. I am so grateful for my husband not letting me quit. I am so grateful for the doctors and nutritionists and exercise specialists and people who've helped me through this journey, the neurologists, everyone, because I have my life back. And I could not have done it on my own. I could not have done it without my doctors and all the support system I had and my friends. Because like I said, my husband was deployed during part of this, during one of my surgeries, and I had to have friends step up and help take care of my kids and me. And I'm so grateful for this wonderful military community that has helped me find friends who were that kind of supportive in my military congregation and just everything, because it has changed my life. And that's the message I want everyone to hear, is that we can politely and powerfully stand up for ourselves in a kind, adult way and say, no, I need your help. I need this. And expect it to happen. And so if you are running into issues with maybe it's military, medical, or something else, getting what you need done, I want you to know you can do it. That you might want to give up, that it might get discouraging, that it might seem like nobody cares. But you can do it. And I know you can do it because I've seen that in my life. You may not be able to do it by yourself, but you can do it. I wasn't able to do it on my own, but I was able to do it. And so maybe it's sucking up our pride and asking for help. Maybe it's realizing that it's crunch time and we just need to put on our big kid pants and go for it. And maybe it's, you know what? Keep looking for someone who's going to listen to you because you haven't found the right person yet to help you through the process. So, that said, welcome to my life. That is an aspect of my life I really didn't think I was going to share, but it just has come up so much in the last few months that I felt like maybe this was the time, because maybe this will help inspire someone to stand up for themselves, to advocate for themselves, to not quit, to not get discouraged. And if that's the case, it's worth sharing. So, that all said, please keep reaching out to me. Let me know what you want to hear about. There are things that I can share that I've experienced or know or learned that I don't always think about sharing. So it's through listener interaction. It's through reaching out and telling me about stories or asking questions or whatnot that I know what to share. I know what to cover. So please reach out. Tell me what you want to know. Tell me what you're interested in. Ask questions. I want this to be a safe space to just share and ask questions and get resources and build a community. And I'm so grateful and excited about the community that's already growing. So let's keep it up. And share this. Share this with a friend. Maybe there's someone you know who needs this information too. So pass this along to a friend. Let them know. Tell them about the resources I have. Please, just let's help each other. And with that said, I am your host, Sam Wolf, and you are listening to Life of a Military Wife.